Yeah, I got new glasses. What's up? Alright guys, pick a number 1 through 5. 2. Alright. We're doing... Ooh, the skull cherries. Good choice, good choice. I got a handful of hooks here. Which one do I need? Pink. Size. 2.5. These patterns are from this person. PHoaCrochet. I don't know that I'm probably not saying that right, but like I'll tag them down below too, so you guys can go support her, check out her patterns. We've got abbreviations. Looks like we got magic ring, slip stitch, chain, single crochet, increase, double crochet, half double crochet. So a lot of that's, you know, pretty basic stitches there. Nothing too crazy. The size of the finished piece may vary, right, based on the tension. I actually have really tight tension, because when I first started crocheting, my tension was not consistent or tight, so a lot of my stuff just was really frumpy and just kind of collapsed. One time when I was at a convention and someone else who like is familiar with crochet came to me, looked at my stuff, and like told me, they were like, you know, your stitches look really nice. They're like, your tension, you could tell like your tension's really consistent and your stitches look really good. And I'm like, that's so nice, thank you. And like, I've got imposter syndrome so bad, especially when it comes to crochet, because I'm not saying that like handmade crochet items aren't worth a lot, but they do tend to run higher priced just like on average with a lot of people. And I'm really bad about pricing myself lower than I probably should. But a lot of that comes from at the beginning when I first started crocheting, I just didn't think my skill level was good enough to like charge those kind of prices, regardless of the amount of time I put into it. And I just had like this fear that like somebody would like pay all this money to get a plushie, take it home, and it just like fall apart. Like it's like I tend to like stress test the parts that I sew together prior to like selling the piece. I mean, it's, you know, things aren't cheap especially these days, you know, and like money, every dollar counts. So like if people are willing to spend their hard-earned money on something I made, then I want to make it, you know, worth their dollars. It's funny because, you know, I'll go to these other people and I'll see their prices, you know, being like pretty normal prices, and I'm just like, oh no, that's completely reasonable. But then I look at my stuff and I'm over here like, I'm charging less than that. Like I can see it as reasonable for somebody else's work, but when I'm trying to sell my own, I always just like never price it as high as it probably should be. There's a bug. Oh, I lost him. Echo, get him. Echo. 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 Nothing. Alright. Anyway, back to the pattern. I'm working on it, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Say hi, Roxanne. Yeah. Yeah, old lady. Yeah. It's Chili Red by Yarn Bee. This kind of green, which is lime, also in Yarn Bee, and just black. So all these are Yarn Bee, and this is the colors we're going to use to make our skull cherry car hanger thing. I forgot my stitch marker. Well, this always happens to me. Every time I go to get a stitch marker, the first one I grab happens to be the same color of whatever yarn I'm using. Alright, we're going to use blue, because none of these colors are blue, so that should work fine. What do you guys like to use for stitch markers? I know some people make like custom stitch markers. I definitely just like recorded like 5 minutes of me not explaining how to do a magic ring very well, just to realize that we are definitely not starting with a magic ring, we are starting with a chain. So the process is going to be a little different. So let's try this again. So the way I tend to hold tension on my string, which is different for everybody, I always tell people who ask me to like kind of experiment with a couple things to see what tension works for you. There's also tension rings you can get to kind of help feed the yarn through. The way I like to do it is I'll wrap it around my pinky finger like so, and then around my index finger like this, so that I can grab the tail end with my middle and thumb to kind of like be pulling down on that all the time. And having it wrapped around my pointer finger and my pinky helps create enough tension
that I'm not like constantly having to tighten it. I've got pretty chubby fingers, so I feel like that helps contribute to like me being able to hold the string pretty well. But it says we're going to chain 21. So we're gonna go nice little braided chain here. So we're gonna grab, I'm not showing this very well. We're gonna grab this, pull it through, end up with 2 little loopies on our hook. We're gonna grab the yarn again, pull through both hoops, and that's 1. So we're gonna wrap it around, go into the next chain, pull it through. Half double crochet is different than a single because we end up with 3 little loops on our hook. We're gonna pull it through all 3, which is the difference between a half and a double crochet. 4 doubles. Okay. I'm really not particularly good working with worsted yarn because I almost like always without fail get my hook tangled up in all the little stringy bits that are here. I always find it harder to work back down the other side because chains aren't as, they're like going the other direction, if that makes sense, versus whenever you're going down the first time. If you guys have any tips for working with worsted yarn where your hook doesn't get tangled, like I see some of you guys just fucking whipping it and I'm like, how? Literally how? Because I am moving at glacial speeds and getting tangled up every 2 seconds. Picked a heck of a one to start with. I'm so messy with it, honestly. I mean, like in the end it turns out fine, but one of these things is not like the other. My leaves. Cute little leaves. I'm just gonna jump into the skull. We're gonna make a magic ring. Oh, me. I messed up immediately. This is gonna be so small and I'm doing this with nails. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay guys, so I finished one little skull cherry. His little teeth keep curling up, but now I just have to do this 3 more times. Currently trying to see how many yarn scraps I can put on Sanji before he notices. And you can't see it, but there's some there's some little black scraps on him too that blend in. Probably got about 8 little scraps of yarn on him right now. Oh, I've been spotted. Success! We did it! We made it! Oh, my little skull cherry.